Welcome to the Liberty Insider. This is a program that brings you discussion, news, views and information and really some insights on religious liberty that you might not get elsewhere. My name is Lincoln Steed, editor of Liberty magazine, and on the program with me, my guest is Iman Schamshad.
From the Ahmadiyya Muslim community.
I'm glad you helped me with the pronunciation. And that's your first name,
yeah.
But I keep thinking of your last name.
Last name, Iman Schamshad A.Nasir.
Nasir.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure again to have you on this program.
Thank you very much.
And already we've had some good discussions about Islam and clarifying the Ahmadiyya
point of view, yeah.
But we can talk, I think, on a lot of larger issues. And for this program, I want to talk about a larger context. It's become trendy, I think, in fact, a necessary trend in the world for a lot of dialogue to take place between, well, some between countries, but a lot between religious and philosophical viewpoints. And one thing that stuck in my mind was a group that meets every year. I'm not sure where they meet, but last time I noticed them was in Cape Town, the Parliament of the World's Religions. You heard that, that group? And I've gotten the impression from them that they think they can bring everybody together and sort of put all the religions in a tumbler and shake it up, and then we'll get some sort of grand common religious viewpoint. What do you think about that? Is that a good approach?
It is a good approach that people should come to table,
Yes.
dialogue,
We need to talk.
understand each other. This is very important, and it should be done. It should be done. But doing like that, it is not. People will be losing their identity, and nobody wants to lose their identity,
Well,
whether he's wrong or right.
Not most people, no.
Yeah.
And I think we've passed the moment, but in the Christian world, for a long time, the World Council of Churches, to name one, they tended to be working toward a sort of a generic form of religious expression. But I think in the modern world it's working the other way around, isn't it? The distinctives are popping up.
Yes, everybody wants his identity. That is the more important thing. Even small baby want to be acknowledged, want to be recognized. How all the faith you do like that, it is only will be done, not only done in that fashion and manner when that divine personality comes. He will unite the whole nation, whole world.
Yeah.
That is his job, not the United Nations job.
Well, I can't resist it, and it might not prove your point, but I remember there was a child's cartoon called Ants. Did you ever see that?
No.
A crazy cartoon. It was with Woody Allen as the voice of this character, and the movie started, he was lying in the psychiatrist's couch, and he's saying, he says, "I feel so insignificant, doctor." He says, "You know, I'm the middle child of 1,000 children." You know, he's an ant. And he says, "I feel insignificant. I feel like I don't matter." And at the end of the session, the doctor says, "We've made great progress." He says, "You are insignificant." Well, you know, an individual in the modern world can feel that, can't they?
Of course.
But the glory of religious expression and identity is that you know that you're, as the Bible says, and the Quran I think says the same thing, that in the eyes of God we're a special creation.
Of course.
We're uniquely His.
Yes.
And we shouldn't give that away just to, so that someone will find our belief more acceptable.
Religious dialogues are very important. It is very important that a religious leader should come together on the table and try to understand each faith, because here before 9/11 people do not know, even the Christian do not know their other friends Christian, right, what they believe.
Absolutely.
You know, I was when 9/11 happened, I was in Maryland that time on that big mosque, Masjid Baitur Rahman, and there what I thought that let me call all the leaders in our mosque, and they came, and in fact they did not know each other. So I think 9/11, after 9/11, the good thing what happened is that our community most importantly thought that we should go outside and talk with people, although we were doing before, but people were not paying any attention towards what we were talking. After 9/11, they became alert, and they tried to invite us, they tried to come to our mosque, and we have dialogue with them. And in fact, from 1886, we are taking part in a religious founder day. And that means that once in a year in our community all over the world, we held one meeting where we invite the religious leader of different faith with their congregation. And we give them one topic, that talk yourself on one topic from their book, from your own book, so that people who are sitting all around from different faith, they understand what do you believe.
Yeah, good points. But and you've also reminded me of something that I believe is true, and you can affirm this or deny it. The Ahmadiyya community, you have a headquarters in London, right?
Yeah.
And you have a worldwide network, but I don't think Islam generally is closely structured, is it?
Yes, Islam says central point also, central government, central people, and it will be khilafat, successorship. And let me clear this point, why our headquarters is in London.
No, okay, yes.
Yeah, because this is important. Because movement started from India, Qadian, how the headquarters became in London today. Yeah. So from 1947, our headquarters shifted from Qadian to Rabwa, Pakistan. And our successor, which we call Khalifa, he was staying in Rabwa, Pakistan. And after 1974, when we were declared non-Muslim minority, and 1984 declaration ordinance 2020, which did not permit us to show directly or indirectly that we are Muslim, our Khalifa could not stay there to perform. So from
makes sense.
Right.
Absolutely.
So this is the reason that we are in. And after that, in our four religious leaders' time, fourth successorship of the promised Messiah, Mirza Ghulam Ahmad, peace be on him. He started MTA, Muslim Television Ahmadi, all over the world, 24 hours. From there, we have Friday sermons live every Friday, other meetings, other teachings, and our convention are telecast live from there.
But yes, you have a fairly intact global network.
Yeah.
But in the general Islamic world,
this time they don't have any.
There is not. Maybe in a
leadership.
given country, like in Iran, the holy city of Qom, there's a lot of theologians, and,
right.
Of course they have political power there.
Yeah.
And in Saudi Arabia, but by and large, it seems to me in Islam, it's enough that somebody is a student of Islam, gets people around them who listen to them, and then eventually they can become a local leader.
Yeah.
They're not getting authority from an organization.
Right, yeah,
so it's
you
not
are right.
Structured.
Yeah, this we say that this will be by the divine personality. If Prophet Messiah has come, and certainly he has come, through that we have adopted that central leadership. Yeah. And other Muslims believe that we need that today. But unfortunately they cannot. Even whole the Muslim world cannot be united on one point. How the leadership will be. Everybody wants to be a leader.
And a lot of people imagine, because they think of it as like negotiations between heads of state, that you can meet with some single person or some group and negotiate an arrangement, and then suddenly it applies everywhere. I don't believe that's possible with Islam.
No.
And it should not be possible with Christianity, because I think it would diminish individual convictions. But some people try to do it.
They have their own agenda, not the religious agenda.
Absolutely.
The religious agenda,
a political adjustment of religious viewpoint.
The religious agenda are unification, are all people will be united. It will be by under the divine shelter.
Yeah.
Not the government
else,
shelter.
no.
Yeah. So this is the reason I'm bringing this point over and over, that this is not the work and job of any government or United Nations to bring all human beings under one shelter. They cannot do. It is the guide, it is the God and divine personality who will come from God, who will divine. And our belief is that He has come, and people have to follow that.
And we do need dialogue. We several times on this program, we've talked about that. Our Seventh-day Adventist Church, our Religious Liberty Department, we have sit-down sessions regularly. I know with some Roman Catholics, with Lutherans, with
Presbyterian.
With several.
Yeah.
And we talk about doctrine, but the aim of it is not to come together. It's to clarify so that we have an understanding of how to deal with it.
To know each other.
A statement that I know I've said on this program before, but you've never heard me say it. It takes my fancy. Is Mark Twain, a famous American author, he made a comment at the time of the Spanish-American War. He said that foreign wars are God's way of teaching Americans geography. And one good thing, I think, that's come out of 9/11, certainly in relation to Islam, but other religions, people are thinking, they want to discover, what do these religious viewpoints mean? They've been led to ask questions that they didn't ask before.
I think after 9/11, it led us to give more detail of Islamic teaching, and people are ready to listen, and when they are invited, they join us now. But before 9/11, they were not paying any attention at all. This time, if we invite in our mosque, they come. And I will say that we have clarified many points, especially about jihad, status of women, these kind of things which are bubbling in the mind of people. And we are, by the grace of God, many misconceptions about the life and teaching of Prophet Muhammad, we have removed their misunderstanding.
Yeah, now, I mean, obviously it's not my role on this program, or certainly as a Seventh-day Adventist. You understand, I don't want people to join your group just because I talk about it.
Of course.
But that is the risk of an open, not the risk, in fact, it's the payoff from an open discussion, because I could say the same thing. When we talk about religion freely, people have discovered my faith that wouldn't have otherwise, and many of them all would join. And it's one thing, 9/11 was a horrible disaster for the whole world, not just the US.
Of course.
But some of these disasters that bring religion to the viewpoint, some of the people of faith get nervous about it and think they're under attack, when from the very earliest days of Christianity, those sort of things grew the church. You know, in the book of Acts in the New Testament, it says, and the church grew quickly, a time of persecution. I think whenever people are challenged to understand or to look at something, there will be spiritual growth.
It is happening.
There's
It is happening with
a plus for this.
It is happening with us. In Pakistan, we are persecuted more. People are joining there. In Africa, people are joining there. In America, people are joining. And all over the world, when the people know why this community is persecuted, what is the reason, their attention comes and they start reading and they want to ask the question. You know, our many articles are published in other newspapers, and they call us and to know more about
it's
that.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
We'll be back after a break, and we need to talk more about current events and dialogue. Are they working together to really inform people more than ever?
Have you ever wondered how some people seem to do so well spiritually? We know King David had his issues, but look what he says in Psalm 119, verse 97. Oh, how I love thy law. It is my meditation all the day. David spent serious amounts of time every day thinking about God's law. What if you did that today? What if instead of turning on the radio in the car, you took that time to commune with God, to think about His Word, to meditate on His law? What if you were waiting for a bus and you spent that time reading a passage from the Bible? Or if you listened to the Bible on CD in your car instead of some other music? How could you grow if God's law was your meditation? Try it today, and like David, I think you'll say, oh, how I love your law. I'm John Bradshaw for It Is Written. Let's live today by every word.
Welcome back to the Liberty Insider. Before the break, I was talking with guest Iman Schamshad about the necessity of dialogue between religions and the advantages that come from that. And of course, there's certain risks that come from doing it the wrong way around, right? But during the break, I was thinking about 9/11, which was a horrific event, and it underscored the fact that so many people, certainly in the United States, have almost no knowledge about what different faiths believe. And of course, Islam, they were abysmally ignorant. And one of the negative things that came out of it, some people of prejudice and just no thought at all, committed acts of violence, lashing out to try to get to the people they thought were responsible. And I can remember some of the Sikhs were attacked.
Right.
Nobody should have been attacked.
Of course.
People that had nothing to do with it. But that was just pure ignorance, because Sikhs, it's the most peripheral connection in history to Islam, isn't it? This is a separate religion.
Yes, they were against Muslim because of 9/11, and because Sikhs appeared to them like Muslim because they have turban, and they went and attacked that. So as you said, I agree with that nobody should be attacked on the basis of faith or religion whatsoever. No. And this 9/11 disaster was a great disaster for us, for whole humanity, in fact, I will say, because Islam says that if you kill one innocent person, you kill whole humanity.
Yeah.
You kill whole humanity. So in this regard, but after that, the awareness of the faith and religion and in necessity of the coming together for dialogue, it became more apparent and more people accepted it. And now you will see many towns and cities, their religious leaders meeting, coming together, interfaith meeting, dialogue are coming. I think it is a good sign of that.
Absolutely.
And so that the people should know. In our mosque here in Chino and Masjid Baitul Rahman in Maryland, many groups were started coming. And people were so ignorant, they don't know even how we are greeting, why we are greeting, what is the meaning of greeting, what is the difference between Muslim and Islam or Quran and things like that. So they don't know, but now, by the grace of God, as we are approaching outside, people are coming to us. Dialogue is more important, as I'm saying.
And I would think, not just in the US, but in other parts of the world,
Of
that
course.
same dialogue would be useful for Muslim communities to find out something about Christianity.
Of course.
I mean, it's obvious to me that in some countries, especially where there's populists that are not well educated, they're presuming that the United States as a political entity is an expression of Christianity.
Yeah.
And of course, as you know, this government structurally is not Christian,
Right.
never was, and it doesn't do things because of religion.
But because of religion.
And so I think this dialogue helps all around.
Yes.
And goodness knows there's a lot of information that can be shared. I know a Seventh-day Adventist within North America, many people have no idea. I remember my son, when he was much younger, we wanted to send him to a Christian academy. And we had a good interview, but after we were there, the principal called me up and he says, "I'm sorry, he can't come here because Seventh-day Adventists are not Christians." I said, "Well," I said, "What do you mean? Of course we're Christians." "Oh, no, you're not Christians." End of it. I mean, that's apart from the prejudice that are represented, it was prejudice built on absolute lack of information.
Right, and sometimes some other people did not want to understand other people too. Even so much you do dialogue with them, but
Well, of course, dialogue is not magic, is it?
I can give you example that I was in Dayton, Ohio. A group of people started coming to my house, and you know I am the imam, but I welcome them. And I gave, in my living room they came and started preaching about the Bible. So one day it took 30 minutes, they gave me some pamphlet. Next day again they came, third day again they came, and the third day I said, "Okay, look, continuously 2 days you were preaching to me, you were telling me about your faith.
Yeah, you want to talk
Now that I listened very carefully what you were talking, now I want to also mention about Islam." He says, no, our faith is true. And I say, "You are Jehovah's Witness, I know."
I thought it was
You're right.
yes.
And no, it is my turn that you have to give time to me also to listen to me. And they were not agree at all. Yeah. And then left the place. They say, "No, our is only true, our is only." I said, there was a Kroger store very close to my house. And I said, "Did you go to Kroger store?" They said, "Yes." I said, "Do you find how many breads are there on one shelf?" So many breads. And you pick all the time one and you say, "Oh, this is the only tasty," because you didn't taste other one, because you don't know the knowledge of other groups and faith. So I cannot believe that is what you have, that is the only tasty, and rest of them don't have any taste at all.
Well, theirs might be the truth. It's not impossible. But they will never know, and you will never know unless there's some discussion of it, analysis.
Of course, that is the necessity of the dialogue, that we should come closer to each other, understand what is your belief, what is my belief, what is your faith, what is how I practice. Even somebody, they do not know how Muslims are practicing their faith. For instance, after 9/11, it was great disaster. Again, I will say that a Muslim are saying prayer either opening area or in the aeroplane or somewhere else when the time of
You thought
prayer
that was
approached.
provocative?
Yeah, people
so.
thought, oh, he is doing some suspicious activities, and they reported. So the reason is that they did not know what kind of worship and how Muslim worship. So I think it is very important that we should come to each other and visit to the church or mosque or synagogue or temple, so that we should know what kind of worship they do, what they say in their worship, and how form and shape of their worship is, so that we have good knowledge of these things.
I like your attitude, and I think we need more discussion. And on one level, there has been a lot more, but on another level, I think the barriers are still up, and in some ways, they're as I mentioned in another program that you and I had internationally, this move against forbidding people from saying anything offensive to another religion. We're in a time frame when people take offense very easily, don't they?
Of course, yeah.
So
in this age, very easily.
yes.
Many times you will have experience of that.
Yeah, yeah. And even within the US, even within the Christian community, things like abortion and prayer in school and all of these things, they're just, you know, the emotions are so high, and often people don't understand. Like I've just came from meetings recently where people of good Christian faith were claiming that they can't share their religion in the schools. And religious persecution, well, they're not being persecuted. There's a protection that the government has so that it's not teaching religion to anyone, so that it restricts religious instruction in the schools. But that doesn't mean the government's against religion.
Of course.
It's to the advantage of every religion that it does that. Because I would be very unhappy, no offense, if I found that the state school was teaching Islam, right? And you would be very unhappy if you found that you send your child to the state school that they were teaching Buddhism, right? You don't want the government in that business.
Of course, this is not the government business.
That's the point. It's not that any of those religions don't have a dignity and perhaps could be correct. I mean, that's for the individual to find with your conscience and your spiritual search. You will settle on one that you see God speaking through it, and then you follow your conscience.
You know, we also stress this point because it happened in the time of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be on him. When Prophet Muhammad, peace be on him, started telling his mission that he is from God, he is a prophet, and people follow him, and some group of Christian from Najran, they came to his mosque, and they said the dialogue there. So this is very important for us, that it is started there. And the founder of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community in India, Qadian, he has many dialogue with other people too, in writings also, and verbally also.
Yeah.
And our community was doing already this thing. As I mentioned, 1886, Religious Founders Day was celebrated, where the big article of the founder of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community, title of the philosophy of the teaching of Islam, was read, and it took longer time than any other person, and they increased 2 days for that.
And I think your group has been almost forced into those discussions because in Islam you have a very distinctive difference, and you have to explain yourself all the time.
Yeah.
And with your understanding of Jesus, you're automatically in dialogue with Christians. So that is a more positive dynamic.
Yeah.
But yes, I think you and I can agree, and I hope our viewers do, that there are differences, there are great prejudices, there are truths and errors all floating around in religion, but it can only be helped, not harmed, by honest discussion, clarification. In some cases you might be confirmed, yes, these people have a dangerous view that I won't persecute, but I will stay away from it. But you might find that the belief you have is quite false. It's a prejudice rather than an understanding.
In this regard, tolerance is also very important. When somebody disagrees with you or is mentioning things which is not according to your belief, you should have tolerance also. Unfortunately, this kind of tolerance is not among the Muslims this time, especially in Pakistan, India,
I'm glad
and
you
these
say
guys.
that. I
Yeah,
think
of course.
culturally in the Muslim societies, tolerance is a scarce commodity.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a last word from you as we end this program. You know, again, How would you reiterate the importance of understanding and dialogue?
I think this is very important to understand the faith of other person. It's also important that if you disagree, disagreement is okay, but respect should be maintained always there. And knowing other people is not harming you at all, and it is also the teaching of the Holy Quran, teaching of the Prophet of Islam, that you must get the knowledge, and for that knowledge, even if you have to travel, you can travel. So to knowing each other, very important, but maintain the respect and honor and dignity of other people as well.
The other day I read to my children from the Bible where in the book of Acts there was a story told of Philip taken up and placed in the desert alongside the Ethiopian eunuch who was passing by reading, turns out, the book of Isaiah. He was reading it, and as he said, I don't know what it means. I think this is pretty typical of today, whether it's the Bible or the Quran or probably other holy books. There are a lot of people that have no idea what are in those books. I think Christians, speaking as a Christian and as a Seventh-day Adventist, we need to understand our holy book. We need to know a reason for our faith. But also when we're in dialogue with people of other faiths, we should be familiar with what they believe, not in the comparative religion sense which sometimes equates all religions with other religions. But we need to be informed, we need to be sensitive to other people's beliefs, and we need to be able to speak intelligently, sympathetically, and supportively of other people's faith commitment, because thereby lies religious liberty. For Liberty Insider, this is Lincoln Steed.